Have you ever faced a moment in life where everything seemed to fall apart? When the path ahead looked impossible and you weren't sure if you'd ever find your way back? And I know that feeling and I've felt it multiple times. One of the stories I like to share is that when I was a young mom with my first child, that she's almost 21 now, I felt stuck. I didn't see any path forward. I felt miserable. And also, my next guest for today, Kimberly Laverdure, felt the same. And her journey is unimaginable, showing how much strength she has. And she survived an abusive relationship. On top of that, she became permanently disabled due to autoimmune diseases, and she was unable to work. She literally hit rock bottom. It could be easy for her to just stay there, feel sorry for herself. But instead, she rebuilt her life and career from the ground up, and she taught herself everything she needed in order to become a leader in business operations and automation. And today, she's an operations specialist, business consultant, and the author of the book, She Defies 30 Powerful Stories of Overcoming. Hi, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Limor Bergman-Gross, and this is From a Woman to a Leader podcast, the podcast where we dive deep into real, raw, and inspiring story of women in leadership. And I want to help you navigate your own career and personal growth. So if it's the first time you're joining me today here, welcome, and thank you so much for being here today. This episode today is not just about business. It's about reinvention, resilience, and taking back control of your life. If you ever felt stuck, if you ever felt like, how do I turn adversity into opportunity? If you want to learn how to systemize your life and business so you can thrive, this episode is for you. And Kimberly shares in this episode how she escaped rock bottom and built a thriving business. She shares 5 essential tools every entrepreneur needs, how automating your business can give you more freedom and balance. And I think the most important thing, how mindset shift helped her define the odds. So don't miss this conversation. I want to encourage you, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to From a Woman to a Leader on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. And get ready to a story that I think will change the way you think about resilience, success, and what's truly possible. So are you ready? Let's dive right in. Hi, Kimberly. How are you?
I'm doing so well. Thanks for having me today.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here today. And I'm very, very excited for our conversation today so we can help more women start their businesses.
Yes.
And before we do that, I wanted you to share a little bit about your story because I was very inspired with how you were able to overcome a lot of challenges that you had in your life. Perhaps, you want to share with our audience some of the challenges that you faced and how you did that.
Yeah, it started out pretty young. I got into an abusive relationship at 17. It's like, what do you know at that age? And how do you get support to know that that's what you're dealing with when it's something so foreign and it's really hard at that age? And when I left that relationship, my ex continued his abuse in a different way by alienating our children against me. Multiple court cases for years, really up until they were 18. Like it just continued this constant battle just to try to even see my children. And in the midst of that, I started dealing with health issues. I had a disc rupture that turned into surgery, that turned into an actual autoimmune disease where my back is just, and my joints are just slowly going to deteriorate. It's not anything I can really stop. It's just something, how do I remain as healthy as I can? Segue into another abusive marriage that I actually left much earlier, as it turned physical.
Mm-hmm.
And in that space, I was 100% permanently disabled on Social Security disability, unable to work. I had been in corporate and small business, and I didn't know how do I work? How do I feel like I'm contributing? How do I feel like I can do something? It's very depressing to be in that space of that battle, that constant battle. And then how do I even support myself? How do I support my 2 children from my second marriage? And in that turmoil, in that space, I talked to my brother and sister-in-law who had just lost their editor-in-chief for my sister-in-law's Women Empowerment magazine. And that started my foray into the online world. It continued into learning how to be a virtual assistant, into an online business manager, and now where I am now as an operations specialist, fractional COO, online business manager, just really helping entrepreneurs and small businesses in the online space. Doesn't mean I can't still do brick and mortar, because everybody needs the online space in today's world. But I was able to take everything I learned in my previous jobs and move it into the online space. And what I do with streamlining and operations truly comes from having autoimmune diseases. I was diagnosed with 2 more, fibromyalgia and Hashimoto's, and my own well-being helped move me into what I do now. Just knowing that I had to look out for my health. How do I automate things? How do I streamline things? How do I make things the most efficient and productive? And how do I help other people do that?
Yeah, this is so inspiring, Kimberly, because although you face so many challenges with your health and abusive relationships, kind of took that as an opportunity to figure out what you need and how do you just turn your life around. A lot of times, like, we cannot run away from the situations we're at, right? I mean, obviously, it's a relationship, we don't want to stay in those, but like health issues or whatever we have in our lives, we just need to figure out, okay, how do we actually make the most out of it? How do we live with that and thrive?
Yeah, a lot of it is really, there's 2 things. It's like, I have to find something I need for myself. It's just a need. And it's also, how do we turn negatives into a positive? How do we let that inspire us? Well, we need to do our own healing journey. I had to do a lot of work on myself before I could even get to a point of feeling healthy enough emotionally and mentally to be able to then say, okay, I know how to do this. I have a toolkit. I have things I can rely on. And that helped me build my business, because some of those same mental and emotional tools are like a gateway to how do you build tools for your physical well-being and your emotional and mental well-being, that work-life balance. That also, in turn, how do I turn that into my business? Because it's a passion of mine. It's a passion to inspire. It's a passion to support. It's my purpose. It's my gift to be able to help other people's gifts get out into the world. And I guess sometimes I don't feel I'm strong. Sometimes I feel like I'm a hot mess. Yet I do know there's this inner determination that it's okay that life gets you down sometimes. It's okay that sometimes you're just like, I just need to be a hot mess right now. But then it's also time to pick yourself back up and figure out how to do it, how to do life.
Yeah, and thank you for saying that, Kimberly, because I think it's important for everyone listening here to know that, yeah, I mean, life it's not linear, right? I mean, we all have our ups and downs. I mean, we're not always in a happy place. So you shouldn't feel like something is wrong with you if that happens. And
Yes.
I wanted to ask you, Kimberly, because you faced really a lot of challenges. There are some women that I work with. I mean, I wouldn't compare their situations to yours, but sometimes they feel like a little bit hopeless. Like, it could be even work related, right? Not something as grave as like health or abusive relationship. But I feel kind of like there's nowhere for me to go from here. I'm stuck. I'm like some kind of abuse in work, not as abusive relationship, but some kind of abuse. So what kind of advice can you give those women so they can kind of take care of themselves, so they can start thinking about what they want to do next?
I would like to preface that by saying that it's easy to compare ourselves. Like, oh, it's not as bad as somebody else. It's not as bad what she went through or he went through. Like, it's not as bad, but it is to you. It is. Your experiences are 100% valid, regardless of whether you feel the severity is increased or decreased to somebody else. To just start that out, there's always a way. And if you feel hopeless, if you feel there's not a way, the first step is support. The first step is finding a therapist or support group. A lot of domestic abuse places offers therapy and support for free, and it doesn't matter if it's workplace or home based. We as women, we know there is a lot of trauma in the workplace as well as in society, in the home. The statistics are horrific when it comes to domestic abuse and workplace assaults, workplace trauma, the gender and income gaps, the downright oppression of women in the workplace. It's still very male dominated. And if you feel that you're just need something different and you feel that it's your purpose to do something different, take that step. I trust you. Trust me, it is so much better just to take that step and find out what it is than to stay where you are. And there's always a way. I was forced into it based on my health, and it took 2 years to get SSDI. It took 2 years. I lived on public assistance for 2 years. And I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to live on SSDI, which is so meager. It's not a living. It's not quality of life.
Yeah.
And so finding that way and just taking that first step, and surround yourself by women entrepreneurs. Get on communities on Facebook or other social media platforms. Start just small by getting that type of support. It lifts your confidence, it boosts your self-esteem, and it validates what you're going through and what you want to do.
I think that the power of community is so important, and luckily nowadays there are a lot of virtual communities as well. So even if you live in a place that maybe you don't see the kind of women that you want to get contact with around you, you can always join a virtual community. And
Yes.
And I would say that if trust your instincts, like if you feel something is wrong, probably it is.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of times we tend to be very critical around ourselves. Oh, probably I did something wrong. Oh, maybe I'm imagining this. Well, if it happens for you, probably you're not imagining. Probably something is happening. And try to get some validation maybe from someone external you feel comfortable talking about it, so they can validate that you're not imagining something and you're going through something and you need to take care of yourself.
Your intuition will never guide you wrong. Your inner wisdom is so quiet, but if you're feeling it and there's just that gut feeling, just that internal turmoil, there's something wrong, because you shouldn't have to feel that way, whether home or workplace. There should be a peace. There should be an ease. There should be just knowing that, oh, this is cool. I am enjoying what I'm doing. I'm enjoying where I am. I'm loving my life. I'm loving my home life. My partner's amazing. If you're not feeling that, trust that there's something off.
Sure. And let's kind of switch gears and help our listeners to really build their businesses. And even, it's not just, I want to emphasize that it's not just for like entrepreneurs who want to like start a company, but even if you are, you want to build a side hustle, you want to build your brand, it is doable. So
Yes.
Kimberly, you shared with me, like you have a toolkit, you have an entrepreneurship toolkit, and why don't you just walk us through like the must-haves for everyone that wants to build her brand and some kind of business?
Yeah. And this is for just starting out, or somebody that might have been in business for a little bit and not sure they have those foundational pieces that are really essential to being professional and owning your things. So the number one thing is a website, and it does not have to be robust, just a place where people can find you, what you do, what you offer. Simple as that. That way they can contact you. It's an easy way, like me doing this right now in a podcast. Go to my website. You'll find everything you need to know about me. I don't have to send you in a million different directions. And I would always recommend that you are the hoster. Have a WordPress site. It definitely gives you more flexibility than a Wix or a Squarespace. There's nothing wrong with those. It just doesn't grow with you. And if you're having somebody build it for you, which some people have the funds to do that, and it's awesome to have somebody just be able to do that, make sure it's on your domain and your WordPress, and it's not something they're hosting. Because I find so many people lose their websites after years if a company closes or something happens with funds and it's just gone. Second is a domain email. And so mine is Kimberly at my business. Other people would be their name, or it could be info at your business, just something that shows that professional domain. The third one is a payment gateway. You need some way to take payments, and it makes it much easier if you can actually integrate all of these together Fourth one is a scheduler. Make it easy for people to get on your calendar. You don't want to go back and forth in email. Well, when are you available? Oh, no, that's not going to work. So when are you available next? Much easier just to have somebody schedule. And the fourth one is a customer relationship management tool, which is CRM, MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, Ontraport, Kajabi, Go High Level, things like that. It's a place where your contacts are. You can email them. You can nurture them. You can get them to get to know you and build your credibility and trust with them. So those are the 5 essential pieces that are just to get you started.
Yeah, and I would say that don't procrastinate about it, because I know like a website by itself can turn into something huge. So as you mentioned, like it could be just a one-pager website, like you have one page.
Just to start, one page, like this is what I do, this is who I am, this is how to contact me. Get on my calendar.
Yeah. And what would you recommend for someone that is very low on budget and is not super technical? So you mentioned WordPress. I have my website on WordPress, and I'm really not an expert. I know a thing or two, but if someone like really dreads technology and they don't have a lot of money, what would you recommend them to do?
A template. That's a beautiful thing about WordPress and a theme that you get to pick is they give you so many templates, and all you have to do is change the colors and the words and the pictures, which are super easy because it's drag and drop. It literally is just take this, put it here, fill in the copy. Ooh, upload a picture. Oh, I love this one of me. This is great. People get to see who I am. My face is on my website. Super easy with a template. You don't have to be technical, and they have help. You can always go to the support community. How do I do this? How do I add this? They also give you plugins so that your calendars and your payments, if all you're going to use is your website, there's many ways to do that without having to worry about getting multiple platforms.
Yeah, for sure. And it should be relatively inexpensive to have your own website with your own domain. Like hosting costs are not like very expensive.
Yeah, especially if you go through like GoDaddy or Cloudways or Moniker. Like I like GoDaddy. I don't tell people they have to, but GoDaddy just makes it super easy to buy your domain, host a WordPress site, have the hosted support. I know that some people over the years have complained that GoDaddy's customer service has kind of waned a little bit. For me personally, I found that they're always super helpful and easy to get a hold of.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and an email is also something usually you can get through your host provider.
Or through, I actually recommend Gmail. They're about the same price, but having it on Workspace, and Google allows you to have that Google Drive. GoDaddy tends to put people in the Microsoft products. And if you're a Microsoft person, then go for it. If you like Outlook and OneDrive, but as you grow and have a team, it's not as easy to use Microsoft as it is Google. But again, it's a preference. I don't push people towards a certain one. I just recommend, but it really is what works for you and what you feel most comfortable with.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And scheduler, I use Calendly personally. Yep. I mean,
Calendly's great. Acuity is great. Those are actually my 2 top ones. Acuity is HIPAA approved. So if you're somebody who takes notes, you're a clinician, a therapist, coach that deals with mental health issues, something where you're taking notes in, because it's HIPAA approved and it's very encrypted, you can keep your notes in there. Calendly works great for the rest of us that, I've used both. I used Acuity for 15 years and then switched to Calendly. Did I just goof that up? I feel like I didn't say I used Acuity. Now I'm in Calendly. I just like how much more I can get in there. And it integrates a little better with some other platforms.
Okay.
But they're both great.
Cool. And CRM, do you mean like mail automation?
Yeah, your CRM is your MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, GetResponse. I use GetResponse. I'm grandfathered in. I've had it for 15 years, and they've really come a long way with what they do. But MailChimp is a quick and easy one. ConvertKit is quick and easy. But sometimes you have to pick one that might be just a little more than the other because it can grow with you and it can give you the capabilities you need. Some of them don't have an e-commerce unless you upgrade, but you want to get as much in there as you can.
Yeah. Yeah. And even if you start with the one, you can always switch.
Yes.
My advice would say, because I'm a big procrastinator, and I like to Google, how many, and then you are thinking, should I get this one? Should I get this one? And start comparing, and it's like, whatever, just pick one and start building your mailing list, start sending emails, and you can always switch.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. What else? Okay, let's say you have those 5.
Yep, you're set and ready to go. So then it moves into my 7-step process that I use with all my clients.
Uh-huh.
And that one is putting everything on autopilot, which means automating, streamlining, getting processes and systems in place, getting those repetitive tasks off of your desk, basically, and off of your productivity time. The more time you can spend on your business instead of in your business, the better off you are. Some of that, like I said, it kind of overlaps. That calendar, that schedule is an automated thing. It's very easy to have a link on your website or to send it to somebody, sends the reminder emails, gets them on any calendar they want so that it gets them blocking out that space on their calendar. That's an automation. It's something you want to do. Then you move into looking at what systems, tech stacks you have. So you might have these 5, but what else do you need to make things work? Do you want to hire a team? How do you look at if your systems and processes are working? You want audits, you want feedback from your clients and your team as you build. You want to continually improve on them. And then at the end, of course, you're just going to keep that going and keep that cycle going. And I think I missed the first step, completely missed the first step, goals and vision. Where do you want your business to go? What do you want your business to do? How do you want to help people? Then what goals do you want to have for the year, for 5 years, for the quarter? The way to grow is partnership. And if you want to partner with people, you have to get on their schedule too. And most people are out for a year. So the more that you plan and get ready and you know what you're going to do, the easier it is to get where you're going. Keeps building that momentum.
Yeah. And what if you don't know? Like, let's say because a lot of my clients, like, they work in corporate and they think about maybe starting a side hustle, maybe consulting or
Mm-hmm.
coaching or something, like, based on their expertise. But they don't know how far it will go. They don't know if they'll actually switch or they'll just keep it aside. They're not exactly sure. What do you recommend them to do?
It's great to start as a side hustle as long as you are able to really devote X amount of time to it so that you know that as you're building that the more it builds on this side, this is where you can start downsizing your corporate or finally leave it. And
Yeah.
many people really are able to do that. And if you really don't know, I mean, following me on social media, I give so much value. You don't even have to hire me. You can just find it, go through my blogs and articles to be like, oh, this is great ideas. I need to help implement this. But most of the time, people starting out, you need to have a coach of some sort. And while I don't consider myself a coach, I'm more of a business consultant. I don't really like to use coach because it's not quite what I do. I'm more in
Yeah.
the operations business side of it, but I do some mindset things. I do some self-doubt and all that to help you get over speed bumps that kind of come up. But it helps to get that support. In community, again, you can ask tons of questions if you join other entrepreneur groups where you can support each other and ask questions. Hey, I thought about doing this. What do y'all think? Or what's an obstacle how did you overcome something like this? How did you move out of the corporate space? How did you grow your business? It's great to have that community.
For sure. And I'm in part of several communities. And, one of the challenges I hear, and I face that too from my fellow coaches, is how do I get clients without being salesy? I mean, this is one of the challenges, especially someone who worked like me, like for years in the corporate world. And I mean, we're not used to sell ourselves. We just do our good, yes, for some, we do sell like ourselves in the corporate, but it's not the same as going and start, selling yourself to people. So what's your advice on that?
So I use the intuitive sales approach. It's something that I've developed over the years where it's definitely, and I don't, this word is starting to become a cliche, but it is really heart centered. It's really coming from a place of understanding what somebody might need. But the basis is what solution are you offering? What's going to change if they work with you? So the more
Mm-hmm.
that you work on that, it becomes less salesy and more, I really can do this for you. I can get you from here to here. This is how I do it.
Yeah.
Don't underprice yourself, but don't overprice yourself either. That happy medium when you're starting out, because too low, people don't take you seriously. You're like, oh, $300. Is she really going to do what she's putting out? But a $1,500 to $2,000 for a 8, 12 week, 16-week course is doable. or even just working with you for, 8 to 12 weeks. And it really depends on what your offer is. And that's one thing I do on my Alchemy Ignite session is, even if you don't work with me, I give you some tangible result. Like, here's what you can do, and here's how you can work through things. And here's a few things that you can do in the interim until you make a decision on how you want to get support.
Yeah. Yeah. Pricing is always tricky. Like, how do you know how to price yourself? You don't want to be too expensive. You don't want to be too low, as you mentioned.
Yeah, because you definitely want to pay yourself for your time and your expertise.
Sure. Yeah.
But you also don't want to put yourself out of business by being too pricey too when you're first starting out.
Any tips of how you can find that happy medium?
Gosh, that's a good question. I'm going to have to think about that one.
Yeah, I mean,
again, it's looking at other people's websites and people that are comparable to you, what they do, that it's like, oh, I'm in this niche. This is kind of what I do too. So you kind of follow them, take a peek at what they're doing and how they're pricing and what they're offering within it. One thing I've learned over the years, some people tend to not want to give too much away, but if somebody's paying you, give it all. Give them as much value. Don't overdo yourself as much as like work time. But if you have a bunch of resources, give it to them. They're paying you for it. Give them as much as you can so that they walk away happy. They're going to stay with you.
I completely agree with you. I mean, I really have an abundance mindset. So it's like, give and you shall receive, right? I mean, eventually
Yes.
people that appreciate you. And I mean, even just if you give like something for free, like you talk with someone for a few minutes and you give them some tip, and they appreciate that. And they may not hire you right away. Maybe they'll hire you in the future.
Yep, absolutely. People circle.
Yeah.
They may not feel they're 100% ready, but when they feel they've gotten some value from you and you really understand, and like I said, my Ignite Alchemy session is actually an hour. I spend an hour with people. And you fill out a form ahead of time. But whether you work with me or not, I'm going to give you some tips based on what you're saying. Like, this is a direction you can take. Here's something that I would do in this situation. Here's what my clients have done. I don't mind that. Like, not everybody's going to be a fit, but I love people to walk away with something they feel good about, because we might not be a fit, but they might know somebody. And people that become fans, even if they don't work with you, you want people like that too. You want people that are like, oh, it wasn't right for me, but I know this other person that it might be perfect for. I'm going to send them your way.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned fans. So how do you build that fan base, or I don't know how you call it? Like, because we talked about the tools, what the website, the email list. So what's some strategies that worked for you to really build that audience that follows you, that consume your content, and eventually some of them are interested in working with you along the way?
So there's so many conflicting experts out there on social media, be everywhere or just be in one. For me, I found where your largest audience is, focus on that. You can cross share, but you're going to spread yourself too thin by trying to focus on every single platform and create content for every single platform, because one might work here. But if I'm doing an article on LinkedIn, a reel works better on Instagram. And then I want to share that reel on Facebook, but I also want to share that post. I'm going to put it on my blog, but maybe I'll do a TikTok too. But maybe I'd be better on Twitter or Threads, so that you have to pick one where your largest audience is and where people are going to see you the most. For me, it's LinkedIn. I have found. I've tried Facebook. I've tried Instagram. I still share things there when I write my articles, but I was spreading myself too thin. So LinkedIn is my biggest thing. And I have catapulted now. I have my newsletter and I'm able to do that, but maybe Instagram is where you are. So follow somebody who's an Instagram expert. I follow quite a few of them. Some of my clients are better on Instagram. Some of them are better on Facebook. So I need to have some knowledge in all areas for my clients, regardless of what I use. So it really is just establishing where you need to be and focus on that.
Yeah, Kimberly, I love that. I also using LinkedIn. I'm there all the time. And I think that I made the same decision as you. Like, I'm just focusing there. I'm on all socials other than TikTok. I don't like them so much, but I refuse to be there. But other than that, I mean, I'm on all social media. But as you said, I cannot be on so many and spread myself too thin.
Now, my author sites do really well on Facebook and Instagram and Threads. So my books and everything, I'm able to, as I'm writing and as I'm marketing, that's a really good place. I can still let my LinkedIn people know that I'm doing it, But if you're looking to get into writing, really great place to have an author page and to talk about what you're doing there.
Yeah. So before we end, I mean, I know that you have a book coming up.
I do. It releases next month. Oh my goodness, it's
Wow,
almost
wow,
here.
wow, wow. So tell us a little bit about it.
This one is more inspirational. This one is more about my backstory that I spoke about. It goes into a little more detail and talks about how I turned around, much like what I did here, but I get a chapter. So this one was an anthology with 29 other incredible women with their stories of overcoming adversity and how they moved into thriving out of abuse and challenges and adversity. So it's going to be really incredible. And it comes out, it's on my website, so you can get on the wait list. And what I love about it is we're all supporting each other. So it's not just my solo book, which I will have coming out in April, but then January is a collaborative effort with all 30 of us.
Wow. How did you find that kind of group?
Yeah, I found it in one of my Facebook groups that the community, they posted anybody interested in doing a book. And when I found out it was an anthology, and that's a really great place to start. It's a really great place to start with a collaborative book because self-publishing is really hard. But when you find a publisher that likes to do these collaborations, it makes it really easy to get seen and get some credibility, get yourself moving. And I have wanted to be a published author since I was 6 years old. This is a dream. I've been writing since I was 6 on my little Holly Hobby notebooks. I was a journalist all through high school and college. I still write, obviously, I do it more for business, but this is like a dream come true for me. So if it's a dream for other people, I'm happy to connect them with the publisher that I use because they're really incredible. They have a great team behind them. They're global. We'll be getting into all the big stores, Amazon, but just like anything, it's part self-published, part publisher. So you have to help with a lot of the marketing. They do a big part of it. But if you want your book to keep going, then you have to continue marketing, doing book signings, letting people know your journey, getting a wait list going. So it's a little different than getting in with a huge publisher.
Yeah, for sure. Well, congratulations on your book. And is there anything else you would like to share before we end our call today?
I love ending with just that inspirational piece that it doesn't matter what you're going through or what you've gone through. You can overcome it. You can thrive in spite of it and despite it to become what you want. That does not have to hold you back. It does not define you. It just has made you who you are. And you have that choice to be who you want to be and what you want to do in life.
That is beautiful, Kimberly. Thank you so much for being here today. It was lovely talking to you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for listening for today's episode with Kimberly. I hope that her journey gave you inspiration and clarity to take the next step for you. And before you go, I would love to hear from you. What resonated with you today? Send me a message, leave a review, or just follow me on LinkedIn. Your feedback really helps me build a podcast that reach more amazing women like you and help more women. And if you haven't already, make sure to follow or subscribe to From a Woman to a Leader so you don't miss another episode. And what's coming up next week? Next week, I'm sitting down with Kavita Lakshminarayasha. I hope I pronounced her last name properly. She is a lead data engineer, and she grew up in a home where girls are expected to get married, not to get a degree. She broke every expectation. She moved from India to the US. She got her master's degree at the age of 30, and she built a powerful Instagram community called Careers with Kavita, which as of this point have over 130,000 followers. All of that while she's still, working full-time and raising a child. Her story is packed with practical job search strategies, LinkedIn tips, and powerful reminder what's possible when you follow your ambition and choose to give back. So make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you next week. Bye.